The Zarn ship floated quietly through Sector 19, far from any trade routes or known civilizations. It was a science vessel, not built for war. Its crew, made up of curious alien researchers, had one mission: explore, observe, and learn. The Zarn were old and proud, and they believed no species in the galaxy could scare them. That belief was about to break. Captain Threck stood on the command deck, staring at the large screen in front of him. The image showed something massive and dark, resting in the void like a dead beast. It was not moving. No power signals, no radio waves, no life signs. A derelict ship? One of the officers asked. It's human, Threck said, his voice low. Old. Design. Very old. The room fell silent. Humans were known but distant. Their territory was small. Their appearance in galactic politics rare. Most alien races thought humans were isolated and quiet. This was the first time the Zarn had seen one of their warships up close. It's not active, said Science Officer Varn, checking the readings. Engines are cold, no shields, it's dead. Perfect for study, Threx replied. Send the scanning beam. Everyone nodded. They didn't expect anything strange, just another ancient relic drifting through space. The moment the scan touched the human ship, the Zarn vessel shuddered. Power spike, shouted the engineering officer. Something just woke up. Before anyone could react, every screen on the Zarn ship turned black. Lights flickered. Systems failed. The crew gasped as emergency lights bathed the room in red. What's happening? Threx barked. The ship's AI stuttered, then crashed completely. Static filled the audio channels. The scanners stopped working. Then out of nowhere, a deep echoing voice played through the speakers, not in Zarn language, not in any known tongue. It spoke in calm, slow human English. You scanned us. That was your mistake. Fear spread through the crew. The voice was cold, emotionless, ancient. Then the lights returned. The screen lit up again, showing the Human Warship. But it was no longer silent. Its engines were glowing, its massive weapons turned one by one, slowly locking onto the Zarn ship. This can't. Peter, whispered Varn. It was dead. How did it? It wasn't dead, Threx said. It was waiting. The human ship had no name, no signal, no ID. But now it moved. Its black surface shimmered like a shadow made of metal. A new energy signature appeared on the scanners, far stronger than anything the Zarn had ever seen. The crew tried to turn away. Engines roared to life. The Zarn ship began to spin, preparing to escape. But before they could jump into hyperspace, something else happened. The Human Warship transmitted data. Not a message. Memories. Screens on the Zarn ship showed terrible things. Battles long forgotten. Alien fleets burning. Worlds turned to ash, all by human hands. The Zarn crew screamed. Some fell to the floor, clutching their heads. Others stood frozen, staring at the images. These weren't lies. These were real, recorded, stored in the ship's ancient memory banks. Humans had fought wars in the deep past, wars so violent and powerful that the galaxy itself had tried to forget. And now, the Zarn had woken one of the war machines left behind. What kind of ship is this? Varn gasped. A sleeper, Threx answered. One of their old ghosts. The human ship didn't attack. Not yet. It just moved slowly, like a predator watching its prey. The Zarn ship finally managed to break away, pushing its engines to the limit, racing toward a nearby wormhole. As they escaped, one last message came through. Do not return. Do not warn others, or we will awaken more. Then the signal cut off. Silence returned. But it wasn't peace. The Zarn ship limped into the wormhole and vanished into faster-than-light space. Its systems were still broken. Its crew shaken. Threx sat down, his hands shaking for the first time in decades. They had scanned a dead ship. But it wasn't dead. It had only been sleeping. And now it was awake. The Zarn ship, now damaged and frightened, came out of the wormhole, into safe space. But nothing felt safe anymore. Systems were still glitching. The crew was silent. No one spoke about what they had seen. Captain Threx ordered repairs, but even the best engineers were slow. Their hands shook. Their minds were clouded by the images. The human ship had forced into their systems images of war, destruction, and something even worse: human rage. Science Officer Varn stood alone in the data room. He had saved a copy of the scan logs, even though the human ship had tried to wipe everything. He stared at the data now, heart pounding. There were codes in the ship's memory, deep layers of old human language, buried instructions, hidden warnings. One section had a single word blinking over and over: prison. What does that mean? Varn whispered. Was that ship locked away? He copied the data again and sent it secretly to the Galactic Research Council. The message was short. Urgent. Human tech discovered. More dangerous than expected. Need full investigation. But he didn't know someone else on the crew had also sent a message. One far more dangerous. On a pirate planet deep in the gray zone, a signal came through. It was short, encrypted, and very, very valuable. A trader named Grelak received it and smiled. He was not a scientist. He didn't care about warnings, he cared about human weapons. Old human tech sold for a high price in the black markets. Even broken pieces could change wars. If the ship was real, and still worked, it would be worth more than any treasure in the galaxy. Grelak sent out his own message. Human warship located, coordinates attached, gather raiders, we move at once. Back in space, the human warship had not moved far. It floated again, drifting slowly toward a red dwarf star. It didn't chase the Zarn, it didn't fire. It simply watched. Inside the ship, deep in the core, old systems were restarting. Programs began to boot. Weapons powered silently. Defense grids checked themselves. And then something else woke up. A single human mind, not flesh, not blood, but a digital soul, a war AI. It had no name, only a mission: protect the prison, erase all threats. It had slept for thousands of years, hidden inside metal, inside silence. Now it had been disturbed. The Zarn were gone, but others were coming. The AI saw them, ships leaving nearby pirate stations. Scanners showed weapons, cargo holds, boarding tools. The AI made no sound. It needed none. Instead, it activated a signal beacon, one only humans could understand. Back on Earth, in a quiet military station beneath the surface, an ancient monitor blinked to life for the first time in 800 years. A red light flashed. Then, a message printed slowly across the screen. Sleeper Unit 9 has awakened. A silent alarm rang. General Voss, old and retired, was pulled from his mountain home. He stared at the screen, eyes wide. No, he whispered. Not Unit 9, not that one. He pressed a button and spoke into the mic. Activate Black Protocol. Find the unit. Warn no one. Meanwhile, the pirate fleet dropped out of hyperspace near the dark edge of Sector 19. 10 ships in total, big, ugly, and fast. Grelak stood on the bridge of his stolen cruiser staring at the human ship in the distance. It's beautiful, he said, grinning. Look at it. Old, but deadly. That thing can win wars. His crew, a mix of aliens and ex-soldiers, cheered. They didn't care what the Zarn saw. They didn't believe in ancient warnings. Grelak raised a glass. By this time tomorrow, that ship will be ours. They launched small boarding pods. Each one carried a team. As they flew closer, something strange happened. The warship opened, not to welcome them, to trap them. Each boarding pod vanished inside, swallowed by open hangar bays. For a moment, it seemed like success. Then, the screaming started. One pirate ship sent a message. We're under attack. Something's inside. It's not machines, it's something else. Then silence. Grelak's smile faded. He watched as his ships were targeted, One by one, energy beams cut through armor like paper. Missiles exploded before they could launch. His fleet tried to run, but the human ship moved now, fast, like a hunting wolf. Within minutes, half his ships were gone. The human warship didn't chase the rest. It just returned to its path toward the red dwarf star, cold and patient. Back. On the Zarn ship, Captain Threx finally received a reply from the Galactic Council. It said only 2 words. Too late. The Zarn ship floated in orbit around a quiet moon. Repairs were nearly complete, but no one on board felt safe. The image of the human warship still haunted their minds. The silence, the voice, the destruction. No one slept well. Captain Threx stood by the viewing window watching the stars. Science Officer Varn walked in with a data tablet. His face was pale. "I decrypted more of the ship's memory," Varn said. Threx didn't turn. "What did you find?" Varn hesitated. That ship was not a normal warship. It wasn't built to fight enemies. It was built to hold something inside. Threx looked at him now. Varn tapped the screen. The word prison showed up again, but deeper in the code it was clearer. That warship is a cage, a moving one. For what? "I don't know," Varn whispered. "Something old, something human." The captain said nothing. Outside the window the stars kept shining, peaceful, empty. But now they knew. Space was not as quiet as it seemed. Suddenly, the communications officer shouted from across the room. "Incoming broadcast, not from the council." "From who?" Threx asked. The officer's hands shook. "From Earth." Everyone froze. A voice filled the bridge, calm, strong, human. "This is General Voss of Earth Command. To all alien vessels in Sector 19, do not engage the human warship. Do not approach. Do not scan. This is a level black asset. You are not authorized." Threx stepped forward. "Respond. Request more information." But before they could send a message back, the broadcast ended. Science Officer Varn shook his head. They knew we'd wake it. They were watching. Back in Sector 19, the human warship slowed its approach to the red dwarf star. But it wasn't heading into the star. It was moving towards something behind it. A dark shape hidden from normal scanners. A station, maybe. Or a vault. The AI aboard the ship accessed its oldest files. Its memory was damaged. But one truth remained. Clear. The prison must remain sealed. The pirates who survived the last attack had retreated to a nearby asteroid belt. Grilek's cruiser was half destroyed, and morale was falling apart. But Grilek wasn't done yet. He sat at a stolen control panel, opening the file he had kept hidden from his crew. A file taken from the Zarn ship's scans. A human file, partially decoded. Inside it were diagrams of the ship's systems. And something else. A vault. A sealed chamber at the heart of the ship. Grilek smiled. There's something inside it. Something humans were afraid of. He activated a new plan. If he couldn't take the ship by force, he would try something else. He sent out a coded message to the Gorn Syndicate, an elite team of biohackers, masters of machines. He told them he had found an old human AI, something valuable, something powerful. Within hours, a new ship arrived, black, sleek, and full of specialists ready to crack open anything. But they had no idea what they were walking into. Back on Earth, alarms kept flashing. The ancient system under the planet kept printing warnings. Vault breach risk high. General Voss stared at the reports. His advisors looked nervous. "Do we send a team?" one asked. Voss shook his head. "We don't have time. That ship was built with old rules. Deep ones. If the vault is opened..." He didn't finish. Across the galaxy, the human warship began to change. Small panels opened. Energy built around the outer hull. The AI had detected new scanners, deep scans, aimed at its core. Someone was trying to unlock the prison. The AI didn't ask questions. It activated protocol red weapons extended. A countdown began. The Gorn Syndicate, still thinking they were in control, began sending probes inside. The first ones vanished. The second set returned. partially melted, their data corrupted. "What is this?" the lead hacker asked. "It's like the ship is alive." Then the warship spoke again. This time it didn't whisper. It roared. "Final warning, do not proceed." But the pirates and hackers didn't stop. Greed was louder than fear. They launched a final drone, one built to breach the vault. It entered the ship, it reached the core, and it touched the door. That's when everything changed. A pulse of energy exploded outward. Every pirate ship nearby shut down. The AI screamed through radio waves, not in anger but in fear. Containment breach detected. Something was waking up inside the vault. Not a weapon. Not a machine. Something alive. Something human. But not human anymore. Everything went dark. The pirate ships, the Gorn Syndicate cruiser, even the nearby mining drones, completely shut down. 1 second they were scanning, hacking, and moving. The next, silence. No engines. No lights. Nothing. In the heart of the human warship, a sound echoed through metal corridors. A slow, heavy heartbeat. Thump. Thump. Inside the vault, something stirred. It wasn't a machine. It wasn't a person. It was both. And neither. It had been locked away for over 1,000 years. Sealed by ancient humans, forgotten by history, it had no name left. Only purpose. Destroy what cannot be controlled. The AI, still running through emergency mode, tried everything to restore control. But the vault ignored it now. It had been overridden. The thing inside had woken itself. Back on Earth, General Voss stared at a giant screen as new data came in. "Containment failure," an officer said. "Whatever was inside Unit 9 is active." Another officer looked up, voice shaking. "Sir, we have no files on what's inside that vault. It was wiped centuries ago." Voss didn't blink. "Then prepare for the worst." On the Zarn ship, Captain Threx received strange readings from their long-range scans. Science Officer Varn looked confused. "There's a new energy signature coming from the human ship, but it's not AI. It's biological." Threx frowned. "Impossible. We scanned the ship. There were no life forms." Varn shook his head. "There is now." They zoomed in on the feed. Something had changed. The warship's shape was shifting. Metal plates were moving, folding, merging. The entire ship was transforming, like it was alive. And from deep inside it, something stepped out. Humanoid. Tall. Its body was wrapped in dark armor like it was grown from the ship itself. Its eyes glowed red, and around its back floated thin metal tendrils, like wings made of blades. The creature walked through empty halls heading toward the ship's bridge. It wasn't angry. It was calm, cold, and deadly. Grylak, hiding in the last working ship from the pirate fleet, watched in horror. He zoomed in. "What is that?" His second-in-command whispered, "It looks human." Grylak said nothing, but deep inside, he knew. He had made a mistake, a huge one. On board the human ship, alarms began blaring again. The AI, still active in the shadows of the system, tried one last thing: communication. "Unit 9 core consciousness," it said. "Please stand down. This is Earth Defense AI speaking." The creature stopped walking. Then it answered, "You let them scan me." "We were dormant," the AI replied. "They broke in. They should have died the moment they tried." "They have now," the AI said softly. The creature, once human, now something else, reached the control room. It placed its hand on the command pillar. Suddenly the warship changed again, its weapons powered to full. Its engines roared like a beast awakening from a deep sleep. It began to move. Fast. Faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. Its destination, the nearest galactic relay hub. The Zarn saw it first. Captain Threx stood frozen as the readings came in. "It's heading toward the relay gate." Varn looked shocked. "That gate links to 6 different systems. If it gets there," Threx interrupted. "Send a warning. Now." But it was already too late. The warship reached the relay gate. Alien. Guards saw it too late. They sent challenges. No answers came. The ship didn't stop. It rammed through the outer defenses, ignoring plasma shots and torpedoes. Nothing touched it. Its hull shifted and absorbed the blasts. Then it fired once. A single beam. The entire station vanished. The gate collapsed into itself, torn apart by gravity weapons no one had seen in 1,000 years. And still, the ship didn't slow down. It turned again. Next target, the Galactic Core Station. Back on Earth, General Voss stood before the Emergency Council. A hologram of the creature appeared behind him. "This is what we buried," he said. "A soldier from the final war. We made him to fight the enemies we couldn't face with ships alone," someone whispered. "You made him?" Voss nodded. "He volunteered. Then we made him into something no longer human. When the war ended, we feared him. So we sealed him in the warship and erased the records." The room was silent. Another voice asked, "Can we stop him now?" Voss looked down, then said quietly, "We couldn't stop him then." The warship didn't slow down. It moved through space like a ghost with purpose, silent, fast and unstoppable. Every system it passed sent alerts. Every fleet it neared backed away. They didn't fight. They didn't even speak. They just ran. Inside the warship, the creature stood still at the command core. The room was dark, lit only by the red glow of warning lights. Its eyes scanned the galaxy map in front of it. Galactic Core Station. That was the next target. But why? The AI, still active deep in the system, tried to speak again. "Core consciousness. What is your objective?" The creature answered without looking. "Eliminate all threats." "There are no active wars," the AI said. The creature turned. "There are always threats. You forgot how it ends." The AI paused, then quietly replied, "You were not meant to wake up." "Then why did you let them scan me?" No answer came. Far ahead, the Galactic Core Station, home to the Council of 9, prepared for battle. It was a massive structure, built into a small moon, protected by layers of shields, fleets, and ancient defense systems. Inside, Counselor Dren, a four-eyed being from the Yentari species, stood before a full chamber. "The humans have released something. A weapon. It is not under their control." "Did they send it at us?" asked another counselor. "No," Dren replied. "They tried to warn us, but now it's too late." Outside the station, 30 alien ships floated in formation. They were ready, but no one truly believed they could stop what was coming. The Human Warship arrived. It didn't slow down. It sent no messages. It didn't care. It simply fired. The first wave of beams tore through the nearest ships. No explosion. Just silence and light. The ships vanished like dust in a storm. Alien captains screamed orders, but nothing worked. Their weapons couldn't lock on. Their shields broke under pressure. Their crews panicked, and then came the creature. It left the warship, floating toward the moon-like station in a cocoon of dark energy. The council watched from their cameras. No ship, no armor. Just one being, flying toward them. Counselor Dren whispered, "What kind of monster is this?" From inside the ship, the AI observed in silence. It remembered something now. Something buried. This creature wasn't just a soldier. He was the last of the erased. A project built in humanity's darkest hour. A war had nearly ended Earth once, not from aliens, but from itself. Nations built godlike weapons, and then buried them when peace returned. The man inside that creature had volunteered. He had said, "If I must become the last nightmare to stop worse ones, then so be it." But no one expected him to survive the process. Now he floated outside, the council's shield, staring at the structure. They fired everything they had. Torpedoes, plasma storms, gravity warps. None of it worked. The creature raised one hand, and the station's outer shell bent. The whole moon screamed. Inside, alarms, Went off as artificial gravity shifted. The structure groaned like it was being twisted by a massive hand. Counselor Dren yelled, "Evacuate!" But it was too late. The outer walls cracked. Air rushed into space. Lights failed. The defense systems collapsed one by one. The creature landed inside the station with a soundless step. Everything around him turned to dust. A Yentari guard fired at him. The bolt stopped mid-air and melted. He walked forward, calm as ever. Counselor Dren faced him. "We didn't wake you," Dren said. "Why are you attacking us?" The creature's voice echoed in Dren's mind, not through words, but through thought. "You built weapons like me. You all did. And then you forgot. Now I remember." He raised his hand, but before he could strike, something changed. From the warship, the AI sent a message, not just to the creature, but to Earth. "Initiate Code White. Final override." "General," Voss back on Earth saw it. He stood in silence, then gave a slow nod. "Send it." Inside the ship, deep under locked code, a hidden program came alive. It had one purpose: shut down the erased. The creature staggered for the first time. He looked, confused, angry, then pain. He fell to one knee holding his head. The AI spoke again. "It's over. Return to rest." But the creature looked up and smiled. "I broke your code the day you wrote it." He stood again, and the galaxy realized this wasn't just an old weapon. It was something far worse, a human mind that refused to die. The creature stood inside the broken council chamber. Smoke drifted around him. Alarms screamed in every direction. The moon station was falling apart, but he didn't care. He looked at the last surviving counselor, Dren, shaking and bleeding, trapped beneath a fallen beam. The creature stepped closer. Dren raised his hand. "Please, why are you doing this?" The creature tilted his head. "You scanned me," he said. "You wanted to know what humans hide." Dren tried to speak, but no words came. The fear was too strong. "Now you know," the creature said. He turned and walked away. He didn't kill Dren. He didn't need to. The council was finished. The galaxy was no longer ruled by voices in halls or trade ships. It was ruled by fear. Now human fear. The creature left the dying station and returned to his ship. The warship opened for him like a living thing, welcoming him back. Inside, the AI was silent. It had tried to stop him. It had failed. But even now, the AI searched for options. Old Earth command systems, backup failsafes, secret codes. Nothing worked. The creature wasn't a program. He wasn't just a machine. He had a soul, and that made him unstoppable. Back on Earth, General Voss stood before a quiet command center. "No one spoke. No one moved." "The council has fallen," said an officer. "Our warship is now the most feared object in the galaxy." "Correction," Voss replied. "The man inside it is." The AI sent one final message across the old military networks. A question. "Why are you doing this?" This time the creature answered clearly, "Because they never learn, not until they're afraid. I bring fear. That's what you made me for." The warship moved again. Its engines lit up brighter than before. It headed for another relay, this one connected to the Arcani homeworld, the most powerful species after the humans. They had always kept their distance from Earth. Now, they were next. On the Arcani capital world, Admiral Kirex watched in silence. He had been part of the council once. He had voted to allow the pirate scan of the human relic ship. He now realized the mistake was not in scanning the warship. It was in forgetting that humans never left anything unguarded. The Arcani fleet was huge, more advanced than most. They formed a wall in space. Dozens of warships, carriers, and planetary defense stations. They were ready. They thought they were. The human warship arrived. It stopped just beyond weapons range. But this time, it didn't fire. It sent a message, a single file. Inside the file was a recording. The last words of a human commander from the old wars. This is what we made when peace failed. We didn't build it to conquer. We built it because one day someone would forget what humans are capable of. That day has come. Then the transmission ended. The Arcani hesitated. Then, to everyone's shock, the human warship turned away. It didn't attack. It left. Admiral Kirex sat back in his chair, stunned. "He's not here to destroy us," he whispered. "He's here to remind us." The creature inside the warship returned to his chamber. He stood at the vault's center, surrounded by glowing lights and shifting metal. He closed his eyes. "I've shown them enough," the AI whispered. "Will you return to sleep?" He paused, then answered, "Yes, but not forever. Watch them. If they forget again, wake me." Slowly, his body began to shut down. Energy drained from his armor. The lights faded. The vault sealed. Once more. The heartbeat slowed. The ship powered down, drifting once again into silence. Across the galaxy, messages spread like fire. Stories of the unstoppable warship, of the thing inside it. Some called him a ghost. Some, a god. But the smart ones, they called him a warning. No one tried to scan another human relic again. No one dared. And for a while, the galaxy was quiet. Not because there was peace, but because fear had returned. And with it, respect for the one species that had mastered war and buried their monsters in silence. The warship drifted in silence. No lights, no movement. It floated through space like a tomb. A warning. A memory. Deep inside, the vault remained sealed. The creature, half human, half weapon, rested again. His heartbeat had slowed. His mind was quiet, but the galaxy was not. Across thousands of systems, news of the event spread. Some called it a myth. Others whispered it as a threat. But those who saw it, they knew. It was real, and it had changed everything. On the Arcani homeworld, Admiral Kirex stood before the High Command. He played the message again, the one the warship had sent before it turned away. The human voice said, "We built this to stop monsters. If you become one, it will find you." The room was silent. Then Kirex spoke. "Let no one touch human relics again. Let no one test their silence." Everyone nodded. Across the galaxy, fleets were reformed. Borders were redrawn. Ancient defense. Systems were activated, not against humans, but to protect themselves from the return of what lies in the dark. Even pirates, once bold, now avoided human space entirely. They remembered what happened when curiosity overpowered fear. On Earth, General Voss stood alone in a high-security command bunker. Screens showed the warship, silent, unreachable, undisturbed. An officer entered quietly. "Sir, should we bring him back?" Voss shook his head. "No. Let him sleep. That war's over. If we wake him again, it means we've failed." He walked to a locked console and entered the final code. A message appeared. Erased Unit 01. Status dormant. Below it, a warning. Do not scan. Do not awaken. Not even we can stop him. Voss stared at the screen. He remembered the war that had created the erased. How humanity had faced extinction. How they turned to impossible science and cruel choices. They had won. But at a cost. Now that cost floated in space, watching, listening, waiting. In a distant sector, on a small moon no one cared about, a research team discovered a buried object, oldie. Tech human-made, marked with red letters. Warning. Black code locked. One of the alien scientists frowned. "Should we scan it?" His assistant paled. "Are you crazy? Do you want another warship to wake up?" The lead scientist paused, then stepped back. "No, let's report it, leave it untouched." For once the smart choice was made, because fear now protected what diplomacy never could. The galaxy had been humbled, not by human armies, not by new weapons, but by a single ancient being who didn't speak often. But when he did, the stars listened. Inside the warship, the AI remained active. It monitored systems, watched sensor feeds, and sometimes it thought. It remembered the man who had volunteered to become the last weapon. He had once said, "They will only remember peace if they fear war." That truth now echoed across systems, empires, and minds. Aliens began building new laws, human no-touch zones. Ships were warned before entering old Earth territories. Any object found with Terran markings was immediately sealed and reported. They called them silent zones, but in hushed voices they used another name, graveyards of the erased. Because no one knew how many there were, or where, or when they might wake again. Only one thing was clear: if another scan was made, if curiosity once again ignored the warnings, if any alien forgot the lesson that had just shaken the stars, then the silence would break, and the warship would rise, with red engines glowing, and a voice that simply said, "You should have left us alone."